Hello and welcome to AZ in the Circle, Arizona Softball Podcast. We have two very special guests here in Season 2. We have MiaLani Ocampo, University of New Mexico, signee. Yep. And we have Arianna Leon going to UTEP. She's a signee as well. Hello. We got 5 questions for you guys, maybe even a bonus question. 5 questions will be, we're going to recap how your summer went, your best summer memory on the field, off the field. How has fall ball been? Tell us a little bit about that. And then share your recruiting journey. Ari will let you go first on that. Then we'll take a break. We'll come back after the break. MiaLani will share her recruiting journey. Then we'll ask you, hey, knowing what you know now, you guys are all so wise now on this side of the recruiting journey. What would you tell your younger self? And then finally, hey, what's your keys to success? All right. Okay, so here we go. Let's recap your summer. Ari, Arianna, but it's okay if I call you Ari. Ari, recap your summer. You went to tournaments.
Yeah, we went to Zoom into June, the Colorado Sparkler and PGF.
What would you say? What team are you on?
AZ Storm Captain.
Okay, Storm Captain. What do you think some of your best summer memories of the summer were, playing wise?
I think mine were being able to show off a lot of my small ball and like more of my skills to showcase my speed. And then being committed this summer, like took a lot of pressure off like the recruitment process.
So you're able to play a little bit more freely.
Yeah.
You enjoyed that?
More fun playing really, instead of just always looking into the stands or, being nervous about who's watching, because I knew like I had a home. So
did you think to yourself, hey, this is probably what it's going to feel like when I'm in college?
Yeah.
I'm just out here playing,
yes.
Loving it.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed playing more freely?
I did. It was a whole different view off of softball, really.
Good. And what about your best summer memory off the field?
I had a lot of time with my family, so we got to go to the beach a few times. And my younger brother was with us, so we went really deep into the water. And then after PGF, we got to go to Knott's Berry Farm.
Are you a roller coaster person?
Yes, 100%.
You can go up there.
Anything, yeah.
In Knott's Berry, do they have a lot of roller coasters?
They do. And we had the fast pass too, so we would go on a roller coaster and get right back in line and go on it again.
You got no problem doing it?
Oh, no.
And do they have did you ride them at night as well?
Yeah.
I haven't been to Knott's Berry. We have something like that near home in Indiana. It's called Kings Island, and it's in Cincinnati from Indianapolis, but it's kind of like that. A lot of roller coasters. They have the Beast. Huge.
Do you like getting on roller coasters?
No, I do. I like them, but I like them. I like the rush. All right, good. And MiaLani, recap your summer. Who were you playing with?
Well, this past summer, I was playing with Rogue FCK, and we went to a lot of the same tournaments as Audie. I loved being able to see you in between. Highlight of my summer. But this summer, I had been working a lot with Coach Eli Guinness on building my swing and a lot of other fundamentals that were kind of estranged throughout my process of, building myself as a softball player. And so this summer, there was a lot of highs and lows. But I remember my last at bat at PGF, I hit a home run, and that was it wasn't my first home run, but it felt really good because I was applying those skills and, all these new things into my swing. And it kind of felt like a turning point for me as an athlete, just being able to be coachable and actually like accept and apply a lot of the things that I've been learning.
That's good. I've seen softball coaches post, it's a graph on progress, and it looks like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. But over the course of time, you are improving. So to your point, you might have had some peaks and valleys, but at the end of the summer, from where you started to where you ended
it's almost linear. Yeah.
That's great. That's super. So that was your best summer memory on the field. What about one of your best summer memories off the field this past summer?
If you know me, you know that I single-handedly keep the Disney economy alive. My favorite thing was when we went to Disneyland after Zoom into June with my family. We just got to go to California Adventure because we had to make it back for practices, and the summer still goes on, but I loved it whenever I got to watch Cars Land light up at night. That was the best thing ever, because I'm a Cars
do you do the Cars to ride it at night?
Oh, we rode it in the morning, but we got to walk around at night, because that's a ride you can, if you know Disney, you can almost only do it once when you go, because the line is always at least 2 hours plus. But I loved getting to see the neon and then get a sweet treat. And then I actually was able to get like an embroidered bracelet at one of the little shops down Radiator Springs Drive or Route 66.
Yep. And isn't that where they have the water show at night?
So yeah, that's the right park, but it'll be in a different part of the.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you hung out there the most time.
But we did go see that water show. It's called. Do you remember what it's called?
No. You like Tater?
What?
Is Tater the guy, the truck? Mater. There you go. That's how much I know.
We love Mater, but I love Doc Hudson. He's so influential, and I mean, every athlete I think can kind of apply themselves in some of his quotes, and even Lightning McQueen himself. I love the whole thing, though.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so do you like auto racing as a default from that?
So funny enough, my sister gets a lot of opportunities, and she's got an opportunity to go see NASCAR, and I just haven't been like available to go see it with her. So I've never really gotten to experience auto racing, but I mean, if it's anything like the Cars universe, I'm sure I would like it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, and then now it's fall ball. All right.
Oh,
How has fall ball been? You're on a new team. Tell us a little bit about that.
it's amazing. Right from the start, I loved everything that Coach Eli like believed in and what he really wanted for our team. And I think this is like the first team I've ever been on where we immediately clicked, and there was never any awkwardness it was just amazing team chemistry. I think we all can say that we push each other to be like the best versions of ourselves on and off the field, and we're never scared to make a mistake around each other because we'll push each other.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Yes, yeah. And then a few teammates I'd like to talk about is
Okay.
yeah.
You want to talk about your teammates? Alexa Yarger. Okay.
Alexa Yarger at third. I love watching her play from the like when I'm in the outfield and I see her make a play. I think it just really excites everyone. Really, I think you can catch her make a play and you'll see all of us just shook and.
Yeah, she makes a play where you're running towards the pitcher's circle, and she's getting it on the run, and she throws it on the run, right?
Yeah.
And then she'll also make the play where it's almost going out of bounds, and she backhands it and gets it while it's still in bounds and makes the throw.
Yes.
Then she makes the plays in the hole, the 5-6 hole. She'll dive to it and get up, and it's amazing.
I'll be running over there thinking the ball is coming to me and just snags it right up.
Yeah, that's been a pleasure watching her play.
Yeah.
And then Zoo as leadoff. Oh my goodness, I have never been so confident in a leadoff before because she'll just go up there and no matter what her count is, no matter what the situation is, like I'm so confident in her getting on base somehow anyway. And even when she doesn't, I think she does an amazing job at staying positive and keeping everyone else positive and kind of never putting herself down like, hey, this wasn't me, like, but you can go up there and just
That's
pushing
good.
everyone up.
Yeah, she says a lot of good things about you too. The other day you had a 10-pitch at bat. You were at the 9th spot, and she was at the leadoff spot, and we were down by a run. So it was a 10-pitch at bat that you worked the walk, and then she came up and brought you in, and the team took the lead. So it's definitely teamwork there. Yeah. And then did you have one more you want to talk about?
Yes, Amira. She's usually in center, and I'm in left, and I love being out there with her because I don't know, it takes a lot of pressure off. We're always having fun out there, joking with each other, and then
What takes the pressure off? The fact that she can cover the whole outfield with her speed and your speed, so there's nothing's gonna hit between left center gaps. It's non-existent.
We're both so confident in each other that we know we'll find a way. And then we know we have each other's backs out there, and we're always talking. It's nice being out there with her.
It's good. So you're enjoying fall ball.
Yes, I am.
Good. You got a couple more tournaments. I don't know if it's called fall. It's just 2 left in January, but you had a blast this past fall.
Yeah, 100%.
That's good. Your last fall ball tournament, really. So this, it's great. And then MiaLani, tell us about fall ball. What team are you on? You're on the same.
Well, I'm playing here with Audie on Arizona Rising GNR, and we both can agree that this team is something so special. There's just something so unique about how Coach Eli put 17 girls that are so like-minded with that kind of determination and grit to get to the next level. And I mean, the fact that we unified so quickly is honestly a phenomenon. And that's what's propelled us to our success. And I mean, I fully agree with Audie that our team chemistry is definitely something that you can't really replicate. And I mean, with that, we've also been able to push each other. And also lean on each other in those times of, we're not really doing our best, right? And that's so important, is that you can really rely on your teammates and also play for your teammates. And that's just the epitome of success as a team.
Yeah. And you had a few teammates that you wanted to talk about.
There's so many I could talk about because all of them are just wonderful individuals that I'm so blessed to have gotten to know. But there's a few in particular that I'm just so honored to like be on the field with them. Emma Reynolds is, I mean, if you guys don't know who she is, she's a sophomore from Queen Creek, Arizona, and her age does not limit her maturity. She is on the field and she is a leader, and she's out there working harder than anybody on the field because she's out there to win. She wants that win. And she also has this humbleness that it's just irreplicable, like you can't replicate it.
I've seen her, and I've seen her make plays or get a glove on a ball that no other athlete could even come close to getting it, right?
Yeah.
And she gets there, right? Or
Right.
sometimes she doesn't get there, hits their glove and goes away. But any other athlete, that would have been up the gap in the hole. But she makes a play. She stops a double.
Right.
Becomes a single because of her effort.
And I do want to say, though she has some God-given abilities, her athleticism is earned. So we go and we work out together, and it's amazing to be able to educate ourselves and building our athleticism and our strength and our conditioning, endurance, all of the above. But she's there and she's always working hard in the silence, and so she really earns that athleticism and that ability. And I mean, she walks off the field and she makes sure she gives every single girl a high five, no matter if they're coming out of the dugout or out of the 9 hole or the 9 spot, right field. Yep. It's my spot.
Yep. That's great.
But yeah, so she has this just ability to exemplify humbleness and grace, and that really does influence the dynamic in the dugout because she's always cheering everybody on. And Mia Gutierrez, my Mia twin, she's amazing. She was on this podcast too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's one of the smartest people I know, and with that intelligence, she's really determined to dedicate her life to maximize it. She's gonna go to Army or
West Point, yeah, it is. Yeah,
but she eventually wants to go and work as be in our front lines and really contribute to our military as a nation. And I think that's so impressive. She wants to go be a doctor as well. I want to be a doctor, and so we both really can collaborate with our desires and our goals in life. She's just a really dedicated person, and she also just has such a soft spot for everybody. Yeah. And I mean, somebody I cannot forget is Brooklyn Bassett. Brooklyn Bassett is the most hardworking individual, and she's also silently the most competitive person on the field. When we only had one catcher, which was her, she rarely complained about catching 5 games in a row in the heat. And through all of her injuries, she had some back issues and she's had some, hand and wrist things going on. But she's so tough, and she's kind of just really resilient. I think that's the best way to describe her as a person, because nothing is going to really affect her on the field. She's going to compete, and she's going to leave it all behind, leave all the quiet noise behind. But she's just so tough, resilient, hardworking, all of the above.
Yeah, I've seen it in person. That heat you're talking about, that was a PGF qualifier in late September where we had mid-August heat, and she caught 3 games on Saturday and 4 or 5 games on that Sunday.
Yeah.
All by herself in that heat. And she did say, she was on the show, that she relied on her teammates. You guys kept her up and encouraged her and drenched her with water and kept her hydrated. But you're right, she's tough.
She always had a cooling towel on in the dugout. She deserved it the most.
And just this past tournament you guys were in, the Queen of Diamonds, she took a ball to the wrist.
Yeah.
It hit the knob, but it kind of hit her wrist too. And it was swollen and it was bleeding. And that was on, I think, Saturday. She went to that short term or that.
Right. She went and she got an X-ray. But she came back, and when she came back, she was on the bases running for another player.
Yeah, that same day.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't broken.
Right.
And then the next day she played.
And I would bet money that she would have come back with a cast, with a wrap, but she'd be like, I can still run because it's not my legs.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, she's a great teammate. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, and then those are awesome. You guys are great. Picking up your teammates there. Let's share your recruiting journey. We'll start with Ari, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll get your recruiting journey. So UTEP signee. Let's go back a little bit in time. Let's go back to your. You just finished your sophomore year in high school, and you're a junior now, and you're going into that important summer. September 1st is coming up in the future there, but you have to have a great summer. What was your mindset, and how did you approach that summer in terms of the way you played?
So for me, going into it, I knew that I wanted to go somewhere where I would immediately make a positive impact, and I knew I wanted to be close to home. So that really helped me like focus and narrow down my options, and so I could really like be on top of emails and highlights and towards those schools more.
You had a fewer a precise target list.
Yeah.
In a certain region.
Yeah, and I think that was what was most successful for me, is having that planned out already, knowing I wanted to be close and I wanted to make a positive impact.
Good. And so with that strategy, you probably kicked butt that summer.
Yeah, I think I was able. Yeah,
good.
I was able to showcase a lot of my skills. So
because you had a good plan and you just executed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen you play this fall, and I think that really sums you up. Is that you have a plan, you stick to it, and you get after it. And then so September 1st rolls around, and how did that go? Did you get some calls? Did you get some high interest? Or tell me a little bit about that. And that's not always the best.
Yeah.
We don't always. I'm just looking for your journey. So how did it go?
I think it went pretty well, but there was really nothing that stood out to me, and like I didn't have a connection really with anyone. I feel, I did get some interest, but nothing ever really felt right. So
then at that point, you thinking, okay, what's the next step? How do I shift gears?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you make that transition? How did you tell yourself, hey, I got to be more proactive, or what happened?
Yeah, so soon after that, UTEP had actually like caught my eye because I had seen there was a camp, and I had known a few girls going over there. A girl that played with me for school ball at Gilbert, Madison Mendoza.
Okay.
She had gone over there, and then CC Marquez. I played a summer with her before, so
She go to Corona High School?
she went to Queen Creek.
Queen Creek. Oh yeah, Queen Creek. Yeah.
And so I saw she was going over there, and so I started looking really into UTEP, and I saw that they had a camp. So I thought that would be, and it's not far, and that's a school that I think, like I thought would be suitable for me. So I went out to that camp, and
Coach Mata was there at the time.
Yes, and yeah, so that was actually a huge part too. Coach Mata was actually my first ever hitting coach, and so I had a huge connection with her, and it had been like even after a few years of not seeing her, I think seeing her at the camp kind of just like it was like I had not gone a few years without seeing her before.
So you knew some players that were going there. The hitting coach was now there.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, you probably feel pretty comfortable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and when you feel comfortable, you usually ball out. So how'd you play?
Exactly. Like I got there and knowing like that I was just comfortable. That was the best I think I've ever showcased my skills before. I felt extra fast that day. My arm felt extra good. I was just on top of everything really. And then everyone seemed to notice it there. Coach Mata had asked to talk to me after. So
yeah, and was it a good conversation?
Oh, an amazing conversation.
Okay, so what happened in the conversation? You don't have to tell me details, but did you say, hey, maybe we'll call you, or?
Yeah. So she did tell me that they loved seeing me out there. They could really see my work ethic just from how I was showcasing my skills and how competitive I was out there. And they were just like really telling me how much they appreciated me going out there, and they loved me as a player, and that I should be expecting a call soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
so
then
that got you fired up.
Yeah, I was super excited. So I got in the car, and me and my parents were just talking about it. We were all super excited, and then, they had told us like to expect a call soon. Not me thinking it was gonna be like 2 hours after the camp, and on that phone call, they had offered me. So
that's great. And you were with your parents at the time.
Yeah.
And did you say, well, let me think about it, and let me talk to my parents, or how did that happen?
No, I honestly, I really loved it there, and I loved all the coaching staff. I loved it. I just felt so comfortable, and like I think every player knows that when it feels right, it just you just know. And so before I had even gotten the call, because she had texted me a few minutes before, like, hey, we're gonna call you like in a few minutes. And my parents, like, I think they did like a really good job with telling me, like, this is your decision. Like, we're gonna be happy for you no matter what, and we're gonna support you no matter what. And if you think this is what's right for you, then that's your decision to make. And we're just.
So she called and then she made the offer, and then you said.
I said yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. And there was a big relief after that.
Yeah, definitely. Like.
You made
Huge
Coach
relief,
Mata super
and then-
happy, I imagine.
Yeah.
She's really has a feel for the talent that's in Arizona, not just at UTEP, but before, at South Mountain, and then now she's at UC Riverside. So Arizona is been really good to her in terms of, well, she knows the talent that's here, so that's great that it's happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good players from Arizona at UTEP right now. I'm sure the same thing's going to happen at UCR.
Definitely.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing your story. Right, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
You're a signee. How was the signee event? Because I think Coach Eli and Coach Kobasaw.
Yeah.
Tell us about that real quick.
It was
go to break.
so much fun. I loved seeing like all the players there because it just felt so deserving. Every player there deserved everything that, like, where they were going. And I think it can be definitely a stressful process, but being there and seeing how it worked out for everyone is just, it's an amazing thing to see.
There's good camaraderie there, celebrating that signing day.
All amazing girls. Everyone was so, like, everyone deserved everything. So
Great. Well, super. Well, thanks for sharing that story. That's I love hearing it. It's my favorite part of the podcast. And we're gonna go take a break. We're gonna go see what Brig has to say over there at the Polaris PT in Queen Creek.
At Polaris PT and Wellness, we believe that movement is medicine. We believe that as an athlete, you should be performing at the highest level. And so we deliver performance-driven solutions to get you back out onto the field faster. So give us a call at 480-808-4995 or reach out to us through our website, www.polarisptphx.com, where movement is medicine.
And we're back. Thank you, Brig, with Polaris PT. All right, MiaLani, your recruiting journey. All right, so leading up to September 1st, tell us how stuff was going.
Well, to be frank, my family and I did not know as much about recruiting as most families do, I guess. And because of the club team that I was on during my sophomore year, I actually got a lot of information about how I was supposed to kind of approach recruiting. My coach at the time, he really pushed this, kind of interaction with coaches where emailing is important. That's something that is so important that I actually did a lot. After I made my target list like Audie did, I was sending out emails like weekly, schedules, highlights about myself, some of my academic things, because I am kind of a dork, so I have those academics. And so I was just sending those emails out. And even though they couldn't reply, I think getting my name in their inboxes was really crucial to just, kind of highlighting myself. Okay, this girl has been in my inbox like 400 times. Let me open one, or I recognize her name on this roster, or, X, Y, and Z. And so, leading up to that summer, I hadn't had as much activity. It was kind of stagnant, if you will. But I did attend an organizational camp that invited a ton of schools, where the schools actually kind of collaborated to lead the event. And I don't know, I had just come in off of a flight to Colorado, and I didn't have like snacks, because we're coming straight from the airport. I had bottled water in my water bottle. But for some reason, I was just on cloud nine. Like similar to you, I was just feeling super confident. I was like first in line. I was so excited to be there, a lot of energy. And I remember I was just like, because I felt so free during that camp, when it came to the scrimmages, I wasn't like nervous at all. I was so ready and just empowered to use this time to shine. And if I remember it right, I actually think I hit 2 triples and a double with my 3 at-bats.
I'm not surprised. I've seen it.
And after that camp, I was walking out and I was thanking coaches. And at the time I was like getting some compliments from coaches that were all participating. But I remember as I was walking out, the University of New Mexico head coach, Nicole Dixon, and her assistant coach, Morgan Spearman, were there. And they turned around and they were like, "Were you the little girl that was hitting like those really big hits?" And I was like, "Yes, that was me." And I was like, oh, I just want to introduce myself. My name is MiaLani Ocampo, and you actually have one of your 24 commits goes to my school, Natalie Fritz.
Yeah, the picture.
And so, yeah,
Tall picture.
oh, she's a beast. I could talk about her all day too. But after, you know, I introduced myself, I went to meet my mom in the car, and I get a text from Natalie, and she sends me a screenshot of her like group chat with both Coach Spearman and Coach Dixon that says, we just met your teammate MiaLani. She's really talented, or she's really competitive, or something like that. And I remember feeling so like energized from that. And then they ended up following me all throughout the Colorado Sparkler that year.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. And
they saw you play, and then you played.
Yeah, it was like God's timing was perfect. And, you know, I carried that energy throughout the tournament, and I ended up hitting a home run that Coach Dixon saw. And right after that, you know, went all the way to September 1st, and I got a call from them.
On September 1st.
I actually got a text from Coach Spearman. It was really early in the morning, so I had been asleep because I didn't really think that I was going to be one of those recruits that was going to stay up till midnight. But I got a text from Coach Spearman, I think around 3 a.m. maybe, and to schedule a call. So I remember Friday, September 1st, I went to my mom's classroom because she worked at a school just down the road from mine, and we took the call from Coach Spearman and got to you know, get a feel for each other, and she got to get to know me a little bit better, and they invited me out to their camp on September 2nd. September 2nd. They had invited me a few weeks ago prior to like communication, but they invited me through my club coach, and it was that kind of ordeal. But because I was already planning that trip to be there.
You were already planning on going?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Good.
So I went to the camp the very next day, September 2nd. That energy, just feeling really confident for these coaches because I felt like they saw what I was able to do and really trusted who I was. And so that kind of confidence kind of just illuminated through my performance. And so right after that, when I was saying thank you and bye to these coaches after the camp concluded, Coach Spearman took me aside and was just like, hey, we're going to reach out to you soon. We're really excited to get you out here on a visit. And so everything was kind of bang, bang, bang.
How'd you feel when they said, hey, we're going to get you out here on a visit?
Oh, I was on cloud nine. I have a lot of family from New Mexico.
Who went with you? Did anyone go with? Because you drove to camp, I imagine, or did you?
Yeah. So it was actually my whole family. It was my mom, my older sister, my little brother, and myself.
What was that part you said you had a lot of family in New Mexico?
Yeah, so I do have extended family that live out there. And I remember after the camp, they took us out to go eat. And, you know, they were all buzzing with excitement, trying to hear how it went. And my Uncle Ray is the most supportive family member. He loves baseball. He loves softball. And he's always been really interactive with my journey. And so whenever we went out to lunch with them, he was so happy for me. And then I ended up going back. They flew me out for an official visit, and that was far beyond my expectations. I felt like I had imposter syndrome. I was like, do you even know who I am? I'm just this kid from Gilbert, Arizona.
You're an awesome player and super smart. And what time of year was it? Was in
This was
October?
This was early October, yeah, because it was during
beautiful in New Mexico. The balloon?
Yeah, it was during the balloon. I remember when.
Of course they did it during the balloon festival.
I remember when Coach Dixon was driving me and my family down the freeway, like we saw a balloon land like right there, and it was kind of dangerous, but it was like there's balloons everywhere. It was so beautiful. But yeah, that was early October, and then I actually ended up committing in late October. Yeah.
Right, about the same time Adi did.
Yeah, very close.
And then how was that when you so you had the visit, and then did they say something at the end of the visit said, hey, we want you?
No, it was actually really funny because we were, so during like the day visit part, we had already toured like campus. We looked around and saw the weight room, which is actually the coolest part of campus. It was beautiful. And then, you know, we had this meeting with Coach Dixon, and I remember walking in and Coach Dixon was like, okay, so Coach Spearman and Coach Black, who was an assistant coach at the time, he's not there anymore. Him and his wife are pursuing her career goals right now. But at the time, she told us that they were going to take me to lunch. And my mom made a really funny comment. She was like, well, this must be a really good meeting if we're going to go to lunch after this. And it was an amazing
was
meeting.
Mom all right?
Oh, Mom was so right.
Always right.
Mom had that good intuition. And I actually remember when she told me that she was offering me, I like sat there kind of in time stood still because that was like a big dream and accomplishment for me, is that I'd be able to earn my undergrad degree. And it was just such a beautiful moment that I honestly will remember forever. And then after we went to lunch and we had a great conversation, had a great time, and then committed later that month.
October. Okay, great. And if you think the camp is beautiful there, I was talking to Coach Dixon just recently, and I said, hey, did the state legislature pass the bill to get you guys more funds.
Yes.
And yeah, a few $1,000,000 to work the softball field and stuff. So you think it was beautiful now. It's only going to get better.
No, it's such a beautiful, like I remember going there and the field is kind of, obviously Albuquerque's a high elevation, but you can like see the mountains from the outfield and it's so serene. It's just so beautiful. But yeah, they're getting, I think, turfing outfield if I'm not mistaken, and then getting a logo out there, which will be so beautiful.
Well, good. Congratulations. Thank you for telling the story. It's a great story. All right. So you guys shared both your recruiting journeys. Now that you're wise, right? Knowing what you know now, going through that whole process, what would you tell your younger self about the whole college softball recruiting process, Adi?
Definitely to trust that all the work you're putting in is paying off, because I know sometimes like you can feel a little defeated waking up early for games and workouts and sacrificing things and like doing all this and kind of feeling like it's not being seen, or it's not like no one's it's not paying off. But in all reality, it completely is, and all the work that you're putting in is making a difference, and someone is going to see that, because you know there's a home for everyone, and someone is going to appreciate your work ethic. So
Absolutely. And because you did the work ethic, when they do see you, all that work you put in finally shows up. Like you said, you played great at your camp when you went to UTEP.
Yeah.
That's good. MiaLani, how about you? Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self about the recruiting process?
Well, over the years, I've really learned and been able to kind of conceptualize the mental aspects of the sport. And I was a really anxious and nervous kid. I just wanted to succeed so desperately. And to be honest, that kind of inhibited me from really showcasing the skills that I had been working on. So I was working really hard behind the scenes, but come game time, I almost felt like people couldn't see that. And so what I would tell my younger self is really give those burdens and anxieties to God. So as a Christian myself, I think it's really important that I was able to dedicate a lot of, myself as an athlete to God and working in his name. But there's a specific Bible verse that I read more recently that I wish baby Mia would have read and really been able to, hold that near and dear to her heart. And it's Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 through 29. And it's basically just talking about how you want to give those anxieties to God because his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And in that, you're going to be able to, I wish I would be able to play more freely and, kind of unburdened. I mean, it's the best way to say it. Yeah.
Amen. That's awesome. Okay. I think that leads me to the next question. I think you answered it, but MiaLani, what are your personal keys to success?
Oh, I mean, just to continue that, mentality is so important. And I mean, like I said before, I love Disney as well. And in Cars 3, there's a beautiful quote that I think every athlete is really gonna, kind of identify with a little bit. And that quote is, don't fear failure, be afraid of not having the chance, because we all have the chance. And with that, it's just kind of, you have this why not mentality, right? You're here, there's a purpose for you, there's a reason why you're here. And now you got to go and maximize on your potential, because that's your free will. That's up to you. And so whenever you have that kind of freedom of just, why not? Why not me? You're going to be able to really see the struggle and see that kind of failure as just the counter of success. You can't have light without darkness. You can't have like love without a little bit of hate. You got to understand the severity of success with having experienced and enduring failure. And so all of that collectively is just that why not mentality. And that's super huge in success as an athlete.
That's amazing. So everything she just said, I totally agree with. That's amazing. MiaLani, that's wise beyond your years, man. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And then about Ari, what are your keys to your personal success?
Definitely staying true to yourself and understanding that your strengths and abilities are going to be far different from other players. And, you can't compare your journeys and your work and, your abilities to somebody else, because you guys aren't the same person. And I think doing that kind of just takes away from you. And I think if you're very confident in your abilities and your strengths, then everything is going to work out, because, everyone has their own home and every coach is looking for something different. And to every coach, something special is going to stick out about you. So you can't really compare.
In softball, the game itself, epitomizes what you just said.
Mm.
Every coach is looking for something different. I mean, think about the different type of players that softball requires. You know, at the shortstop, at first base, at third, at catcher, at pitcher, in the outfield.
Right.
You know, it takes all types of body types, all types of athleticism, all types of work ethic, good work ethic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it takes, yeah, you're right. You need different athletes for those different positions. That's so true. Well, super. Well, thank you too. All right. And I do have a bonus question, MiaLani, because I heard you're a history buff, and I love history, U.S. history. So the bonus question is, I'm going to ask your opinion. What are the 2 most important days in U.S. history, you know, and then, or any history for that matter, because I know you love history, but I love U.S. history. But go ahead. What are the 2 most important days?
I will say I am such a dork for U.S. history, and I actually do plan on like following my retirement. I'm going to go back and I'm going to teach AP U.S. history at an impoverished school and pay for everyone's exams.
The AP exam.
Right.
But if you pass the AP exam with a certain
You
score,
get that college credit,
so
and
it saves you money.
Right. But opening up the boundaries of simply U.S. history, I've got to say the first thing that comes to mind is the birth and the death of Jesus Christ. You know, the birth of Jesus Christ and his lifetime itself is really something that most Christians, and myself included, aspire to reflect in our lives. And I think living by his example is the best way that we can really impact this world and contribute and leave it better than we found it. And following that, I mean, Jesus Christ's death is so impactful and influential because it really exemplifies the meaning of unconditional love. And with that, that's something that all of us aspire to share amongst ourselves, but also that, you know, very fact is something that is just so reassuring and how important I am as a person. And knowing that, I get to share the love to everybody else and tell everybody else how important they are as a person.
That's great. Amen.
Yeah. What do you think the 2 most important days in history are?
We'll start with keeping in line with what you said, really, because we are one nation under God,
Right.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, is December 26th, Battle of Trenton, George Washington. The George Washington, early in that year, 1776, they had won the siege of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
But then since after that, it had been horrific for the rebels.
Yeah.
They lost New York. They lost Fort Lee. They lost Fort Washington. They were pushed back in December, early December, all the way back across the Delaware River, 60 miles from Philadelphia. Philadelphia had, not a lot of people know this, but they had evacuated the city. 2 of the people that had signed the Constitution, that means 2 of the people that signed the Declaration of Independence, had gone back on that and gone back to British because they thought it was over. If the British would have crossed the Delaware River, they were 60 miles from Philadelphia. The war could have been over. Luckily, December 15th, instead of crossing the river, the British decided, you know, we've gone far enough. Let's rest. Let's go back to New York, and we'll start this back up. Total luck. If they had crossed the river then, it would have been over. And then and George Washington's army was going to be toast come January 1st. The enlistment was up for the whole army. So he's like, what am I going to do? So December 20, he comes up with a plan for December 25th. I'll take a bunch of soldiers up the north of Trenton,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll cross the river, and be there by midnight, then hike 5 hours down to attack Trenton. Then he sent another group across the river directly in front of it to cause a diversion, and then another one south to come up. So his plan was good. About 1,500 soldiers that he was going to take on Haitians in Trenton. And they start the plan. Well, the one that was going directly across the river failed. They turned back.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that were going south of the river, they also could not cross the river, so they turned back. But they had no way of communicating to each other. George Washington crossed the river finally, but 3 hours late. So he's over at 3 a.m. He gets down to Trenton at 8 p.m., and there's no battle going on. He doesn't have 6,000 extra men, so it's just 1,500 against 1,500. And he goes with the attack anyway, and in 45 minutes, he won the day. And so he wins that. And if not for that win, we're probably speaking with a British accent to this day here. So I'm really thankful for that. I think it's an important day. It was the darkest just before the light, and it was super dark for him that whole summer, that fall. And then with that win, momentum got going like it does in any game. And then the soldiers said, "Oh, okay, we'll stay on for another victory." And then they just rolled it from there and went on to win.
Yeah, I think that's really important in establishing the American culture and how we were kind of the underdogs originally,
Yep.
but it's that grit and that fight.
Yep.
And that's just this, it's honestly so inspirational to keep this country moving forward.
Yeah. And the other one is July 3rd, 1863.
Okay.
The Union, the pickets charged. The Confederates were trying to go right up the middle. And the day before, General Lee tried to get the flanks. It wasn't working. So the next day he said, I'm going to split the United States right down the middle. Well, he didn't. And thank God he didn't, because the United States prevailed. So just in the course of, that one lasted about, when it got to the battle, about an hour. So in the course of an hour in 1863, and in a course of 45 minutes, the country is here today because of it. So that's what I think.
Those are two very good answers.
Well, yours, come on. All your answers were amazing. And Ari, thank you. MiaLani, thank you for being on the show. And thank you guys all out there for tuning in. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to us. I'm Javier with AZ in the Circle, Arizona Softball Podcast.